Call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. It is space couch time here in the time space continuum. I'm super happy to see you, and it's great to be seen. You know, it gets lonely up here in space. Space Dog sleeps most of the time because we live in perpetual night. But we have a perpetually amazing sponsor, so let's take care of that because the sponsor this week, you'll never believe it, it's Tiger Squawk Records. You're going to want to check out Freak on the Inside from Roanoke, Virginia's Night Terror, like goth rock. Acided from Chicago's Stigmata with Screwdrivers. You also want to check out The Agony of a Year Without End from me and Everything Goes Cold. New Gasoline and Vertebrate EP, Heal More. That is a Dragon Warrior reference. Beta Virus's new single, I Am Error. And Critically Drunk from Norway's Industrial. All the Tiger Squawkers. This just came out, Batavia's remix disc. Everybody's on it. It's really good. And the soundtrack to the movie Breathless by Sydney, Australia's Isserly. And Sad Christmas, also by Isserly. You can get links to all that at tigersquawkrecords.bandcamp.com. Want to do one other thing real quick. This is a Space Couch exclusive. Check it out, everybody. Friday, January 22nd, will start the Kickstarter for the first Gothicals full length in 5 years. That Kickstarter starts this Friday. I can't tell you the theme of the album. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great. You can help make it happen. What's up to Ryan Bates, first in the chat room today, but yeah, just look on Kickstarter or like on the internet because I'm going to share the crap out of it. But until then, check out all the wonderful artists from our sponsor, Tiger Squawk Records. A lot of times lately, really, I don't know the guest really at all beforehand. Today, that is not the case. I am intimately familiar with today's guest, but unknown to me in certain ways. And I'm really excited to actually talk music with this man because he's got some great new music out for you. Ladies and gentlemen, appearing under the name of Jaff Graffner, please welcome Jaff Graffner. What's going on, my literal brother?
Hello.
How are you, man?
I'm great. I'm
good to
happy
hear.
To be here on the space couch with
awesome.
my
well,
brother Brian.
it is always a pleasure to talk to you. I love your Windows 3.1 background. Maybe we'll do some Minesweeper later, or some Monster Hunter, or boppin'. We could do that. And speaking of boppin', your new album, Hot Salad, is out now on Money Tapes. I don't know quite where to approach this ball of twine. Could you give me like the overall gestalt of Hot Salad and maybe what you're doing with this Jaff Graffner persona, if that's the right word, band? I'm not sure how to approach that.
Yeah. So Hot Salad, it's a collection of unreleased demos and just the stuff that builds up on your old hard drives.
Totally.
Just your little ditties that you write out and sort of forget. A salad, if you will.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And sort of, tossed in a mixtape style vinaigrette
Mm.
and put in the oven for an hour for no reason, and just until it's this hot melted salad. So that's what we're
Okay,
talking about.
okay.
We're talking about volume one of hot salad.
Oh man, well, that does sort of belie a volume two. Dre Robinson is in the chat room today. Uh, I'm not saying you might see Data Bomb on that album I mentioned at the top of the show, but you might not see him. Back to Hot Salad because the whole thing is so great. It kind of felt like a Grand Theft Auto radio station to me a bit, just with the break-ins and the styles
Yeah,
all over
hear
the
that for sure.
place. But I mean, you've been an accomplished keyboardist since you were single digits, so like it definitely shows through on the music. Let's take a little bit of these are just two clips I put together from Hot Salad, available now on Money Tapes.
Hot Salad Volume 1.
So very, very fat and lovely, says Ryan. Yeah, it's pretty great. Um, so you just decided to release this under the name Jaff.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you've had this experience, but doing like the solo thing under your own
Yeah,
name, it seems a little self-serious.
absolutely. No, totally. Like, ladies and gentlemen, hey, it's this fucking guy. Like, yeah, like I totally, and like even, I mean, we have, obviously we're related, so we have the same predilections. But I even do that with the gothsicles. Like, I'll say like
Right.
the gaffsicles or the guffsicles or the blah 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 blah. You get
That's
sick of it.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I totally feel that. So
Yeah, and it
this
sort
is
of ended up sounding like a Star Wars extended universe
mm.
character.
Oh yeah. You totally are like the space mechanic with Mystique or something like that.
Loading something in or out.
The well, this speaking of out, this is out now on a label called Money Tapes. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I should have backed up. So, Money Tapes, my friend Ed in Chicago, Ed Bornstein, started this label under the model that he would just each month he would ask a different person to do to put out their old, just like unused beats, mostly beat makers.
Okay.
Just like do a mixtape. We'll put it on tape and we'll sell it all the proceeds to charity. So he approached me, and my response to that was like this hot salad thing, like
Mm-hmm.
these little ditties and demos I have, not quite like
Mm-hmm.
dusty beats or something, but yeah. So it was pretty much a prompted thing.
Very cool. Do you know what charity in particular, or does that like per
Yeah, for
album?
sure. And so each artist, gets to pick their own charity, and I
Mm-hmm.
picked the Chicago Recovery Alliance, which is
Okay.
a really great organization. They're like on the front line of the opioid
Oh
epidemic. And
wow. Okay.
yeah, they're really, you know, hero shit, like going block to block, like saving lives, like
Damn.
distributing like naloxone, and
Very cool.
really humane, good organization.
Give that name out one more time.
It's Chicago Recovery Alliance,
Chicago
and
Recovery Alliance. Thanks for
their
that.
website is anypositivechange.com or
Oh,
org.
cool. Yeah, yeah. There's I'm always a little bit wary of like what charities actually do stuff.
Yeah.
But very cool. And you're in Chicago, obviously,
Yes.
where I used to live. How's that right now? Is that just like
My block is nice. Or,
cool?
my apartment is nice.
Yeah, I hear you. I actually have the same response when people are like, "So how you like in Boston?" And I'm like, "It looks like the inside of my apartment." Like
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't left, but Well, speaking of what may turn out to be your apartment, you tell me. You actually did a little video for this one. We'll do this first video in its entirety.
Oh, nice.
This is off of Hot Salad. Quickly, what's up to science fiction in the chat room? Tiger Squawk Records in the house. This is I dream about the strangest things at night.
Hot Salad Volume 1.
Things at night, available on at the Money Tapes Bandcamp. Check that out. We'll put the link in the show notes after the show.
Yeah, and let me just say, it's only available till February 5th,
Oh,
which is the last. It's a Bandcamp Friday, which
Right.
means proceeds go to the artist, in
Well
this case,
done.
Chicago Recovery Alliance. Limited edition.
cool. Well, we'll yeah, definitely check that out. You've had such a range of modality if you towards music for such a long time. Like, what are you doing these days? Are you like in VSTs and DAWs and stuff?
Yeah, so I've been like a hardware
Mhm.
synth guy for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've always used DAWs, like ever since I think you probably downloaded Fruity Loops
Yeah.
in 1998 or something.
Right.
I've always had some familiarity, but not
Mhm.
a working knowledge. So like the things on Hot Salad, most of them are just like me getting down ideas
Mm.
in
Oh,
Logic.
it's all by hand. Okay.
Yeah, or not. It's not all by hand, but
Mhm.
basically operating on a really uh, low level of knowledge about DAWs.
Okay.
And then since like the quarantine happened, I've been trying to learn more. So a lot of it is like just being like, oh, this is how your hardware arpeggiator with the
Okay.
MIDI DAW.
Well, I mean, no small feat. I mean, you've been playing piano since what, 7? Uh,
Yeah, something like that.
so it definitely comes through. Um, what this may be a bit highfalutin, but what do you feel like? Where's your music process now, like versus where it's when you started to be like, I'm gonna write a song, and that went back when that was sort of enough of an idea. Like, I wrote a song, you guys, to like,
Yeah.
what is your process or mental state, if you will, like on it now?
Well, I think it's always changing. I think I like changing, the tools you work with,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it just like it opens up new worlds when you're writing songs. So like now that I'm sort of learning the DAW style of doing things,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like writing songs that I wouldn't have necessarily previously written. So I always try to switch it up. There's no one true way.
No, you have mastered several styles. Cool. So you're on Logic these days mostly?
Ableton.
Ableton. Cool. Yeah, I've touched it, but I am far from an expert. Um,
Tips are always welcome.
okay, well, I mean,
like sort
you're
of
the current leading Ableton expert in the family. But
Chuck is right behind.
Yeah, well,
It's right behind, I think.
now that he started his first band, our dad at the age of uh, 65 or something, everybody check out Strumming Along. The Well, speaking of the past, or and the present to a certain extent, you sort of never not been in a few bands. We'll start. We'll go backwards in time, like Doctor Who. Right now, you are playing in the Hex,
Yeah.
um, winners of the Vice magazine. No, no small feat. Vice magazine gave you #2 song of the year for 2019 with
Yeah.
Flash. Um, Tell me about how that went down and your experience in the Hex.
Yeah, totally. I mean, first of all, Hex is like it's like if I were to go back in time and show myself like fifth grade myself like
Uh-huh.
that I was playing in this band, it would be like dream come true.
Okay.
Sort of like a dream band to play in. But they've been a band long before I was in it,
Okay.
playing in them,
And
and
that's the Hex, THEHECKS.
correct, yep. And in 2018, they approached me. They'd long been my friends
Mhm.
and one of my favorite Chicago bands, and they approached me saying like, hey, we got this big show
Mhm.
at Talia Hall coming up, we'd
Nice.
love to get some like live synthesizer in the mix. And then they sent me some stuff they had tracked at the studio, some early recordings, and one of the recordings was like this what ended up being Flash, which
Oh
is like
wow.
basically the first half of the song, which I recognized from seeing them a million times live. But it had these like Gary Newman
Mhm.
synth in them, and normally they're just a guitar and
Mhm.
drums band. So I was like blown away and was like, yeah, absolutely. And then yeah, we played that show, and then it was like, oh, could you do one more with us, like another
Oh
live show,
cool.
and then oh, another live show, and then after a couple shows, it was like, the creative connection and just
Okay. That's
the
awesome.
chemistry was just there. They asked me in the band, and
So they didn't even have a synthesizer prior to you.
yeah, they're like a very meticulous recording
Uh-huh.
band. So
That's
like
awesome.
one of the guys, Dave, is like a record engineer. So they had been working on this album for
Mhm.
like 3 years. That's why they had the first half of Flash, and then
Okay. Because it's the song that got this such the award. It
yeah,
For the audience, check it out. It's great, and it switches. There's like
yeah,
this sort of heel turn that it does.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. So we like dedicated 3 days to recording. When I was in the band in early 2019,
mhm.
and we ended up using all 3 days on the end part
Mhm.
of Flash, like just being like, no, it should be a verbed out clap right there,
Okay.
which was like really really fun and rewarding. So it was great to see people appreciate the song as much as
So
they did.
yeah, like you record this gnarly track, and do you have to, like, I mean, if you don't mind talking a little bit of shop, like, do you have
Mhm.
to get it in the right hands, or you just put it out on Bandcamp and get an email one day saying, like,
Oh,
this super pivotal magazine that's in the American Voice has selected your song?
yeah, there is like a connection that like definitely helped.
Hmm.
There's like a local or like a guy in Chicago who's like a big fan of the band who works for Vice.
Okay.
So he definitely got the wheels greased a bit. But I remember he like reached out to the band
Very
and was like,
cool.
"Oh, just so you know, it's not just me who thinks this is."
Yeah. Very
So
cool.
I mean, yeah, it's just how that sort of happens.
That's how
Hacks are
the
sort of
music
like a
works.
DIY staple, or like they're sort of like people in band's favorite band,
Hmm.
or
Oh,
and
okay.
for a couple years. So
Awesome. One of them's.
yeah.
I'm switching from the Dr. Fate coffee cup to the Thundercats coffee cup,
Hey.
and so just want to. That's a pivotal moment of the show. Speaking of pivotal,
Mm.
you toured Europe at a fairly pivotal age, like in your early 20s or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
With Young Man. That's kind of like living the dream. I'm curious what you think. in retrospect, that you played synthesizers in a band called Young Man. You toured Europe.
Yeah.
You're very popular. What do you think, if any, impact that had on you at that age? Like, is it always going to be like this? I've made it. Like, what were your thoughts at that time?
Yeah, that's interesting. Definitely like a lot. The whole experience with Young Man was like very, very fun and very learned a lot. You
Mm.
know, musically and you know, playing with people who are way better musicians than myself. You know, and
Oh,
just like learning the whole. This is like sort of a mid-level indie band.
okay.
You know, so we spend most of the year like touring as support, which is just like you know, it was really interesting to get a inside perspective of what that's like.
Mm.
Because a lot of people do that, you know, spend the year touring, and then you know, working their way up to from support tours to headlining tours and all that. So it was really interesting to get a taste of that and what that world is like.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like lasting impressions, it sort of made me realize, like how important like having a homegrown sort of organic um, appeal, you know, like because Young Man sort of felt like a band without a home.
Mm.
We had management in New York and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and never really had like a very heavy Chicago presence, which is like, you know, I think important going forward, like to have that sort of organic
Totally.
home field advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling it now. Like, I don't need to. This to your, I'm gonna bring it back to myself, but like to your
Please.
point that like, um, you know, there were like Gossicles fans in like Boston or whatever, but like I'd never been here before moving, so a lot of people it's like I'm such a transplant, you know, like it's a very knit scene, and like I'm feeling that home base absence a little bit that I had in Chicago. So I know what you're talking about. Like I think,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. It's just like you can't spend the whole time touring without like I don't know. I just wish we would have played more, you know, house shows
really,
and just local
you
shows
thought you
during
smash
that
cut
whole
to like Germany too fast.
yeah, something like that.
Okay,
I mean, it was really fun. I wouldn't exchange it for anything. You know,
right.
touring Europe is like incredible
Yeah, it is. Uh,
reality and like playing at the lowest possible volume. You know, before engineer. I don't know if you have this problem where they get the decibel rating um, device out because like we were playing like mostly small clubs
oh, I've never.
and they're just like ugh like five person band like
I just
okay they'll
do.
get the decibel thing out and they'll say oh it's
I've
too
never had
can you turn that
that. Never heard of
everyone's
that.
it's like one or two
That
you know
that is not an industrial problem with like
yeah
backing tracks.
yeah I think we would have been the second we showed up with like a drums it's like oh can't you just plug in your fucking like
Oh, that's funny. Well, I mean, speaking of homegrown, we're gonna go back another era in time, uh, sort of, with a twofer in what was or currently is Orb and its predecessor Terrier Butte.
hell yeah
Um, this was uh, when I was out in like freshman year of college or something like that. Um, and oh shit, Jeffrey started a band. And it was that first Terrier Butte photo shoot in the supermarket.
yeah
Uh,
and Macy's RAV4 in the pick and save parking lot yeah
and then and up through to its current evolution. Like so, uh, how did that get going, and where's that project these days?
so that was yeah that was we were I think sophomores in high school
Mm-hmm.
and just we just for those of you who don't know like we would wear like these jumpsuits like very Devo rip-off style or just like white jumpsuits and we had tap lights on our chest
Mm-hmm.
and I played a guitar and it was just like a sort of synth punk um, and we didn't really know we didn't know what we were doing at all
Mm-hmm.
we just were having fun and just to see like sort of older punks like grab onto it, being like, "Oh, this rules," you know. Like one of our first shows, this sort of like noise guy was like, "Oh, Devo Hardcore Volume 2 rules!" Like,
Yeah.
And I remember just being like completely blown away, just like, wow, there's other people out there that like this stupid stuff. So we just, you know, I'm still best friends with Ryan and Henry.
Totally.
And yeah, we did that for a long time, like convincing my parents to use our minivan to drive to Chicago for shows and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and,
didn't like mom have to like let you into the Cactus Club and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's like was a legendary night that our dad drove us up to Green Bay to play with Juicebox and sort of a legendary band. What are they called? Like that guy Jay Retard's old band.
Oh gosh,
Lost Sounds.
Okay.
And Catholic Boys. So it's this like just this really punk club in Green Bay, and I think it was like a storming winter night, and we were probably juniors in high school. And our dad is just like, "Oh god," watching Juicebox like take off his shirt. Yeah, really legendary night.
Hilarious, but you put out some wonderful albums. I think like we can still get those in some capacity.
Yeah, totally. I think yeah, there's somewhere that there's 2 Terrier Butte albums, and then that project basically morphed into Orb.
Well, I want to take it because we both were in Milwaukee for a long time. One of your best songs was about the domes, the Milwaukee Domes. If you're from there, Brett Lawrence says Cthulhu Fart Wagon Connection. You nailed it, sir. That is, I wrote a song about the van that I used to borrow from you, and we called it the Fart Wagon.
Yeah, that's it.
And I mentioned my brother lends me his van when we go on the road is the opening line of the track, and that is the same van. So well-spoken, Brett. So yes, that is the very vehicle. But yes, so we both sort of moved to Chicago, and Orb chops off letters. Excuse me, I effed that up. Terrier Butte chops off letters from the front and back of its name, shortens it just down to Orb.
Yeah. So we were a 3-piece as Terrier Butte, and then you know, Ryan had moved to Atlanta, and Henry and I were living together in Chicago. So we wanted to play music, but we didn't want to like be the same band, you know, out of respect for Ryan. So we changed it to Orb, which in retrospect, sort of a horrible decision because, of course, there's the Orb, and then there's this other Orb from Australia that got really big a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Classic.
Tough putt.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, Henry lives in Milwaukee now, so we haven't played in a while, but, you know, always with Terrier Butte or Orb, it's just been a thing of, like, if we're in the same room, like, we've played together for so long that we'll just, you know, it'll be something.
Nice,
it'll always
man.
be something. Yeah.
Nice, man. Emma Bean says the Graupners. Wow, I cannot wait to hear what Chuck is making.
That's my good friend Emma.
He makes some great music. Well, this is from a few years back. This is we'll do a little bit of Orb video if you don't mind. This is the entire video for one of my favorite Orb songs, "Worse Than It Was." that was worse than it was. I love that track.
Prescient
Um,
song.
whoa, resonating those instruments. Yeah, went to went
It's,
went
it's just,
went
they
full
were
soul soundtrack. Um, so this is going to be a bit self-indulgent, but like I'm a little bit curious about your relationship with music. And don't let me put words in your mouth, but you always sort of seem to be, in my perspective, like preordained for banddom. Like it was kind of a countdown to like when Jeffrey starts a band. Uh,
that's
but what is your relationship with music? Like 'cause it's
well, it's funny because like I since I was really young, I couldn't wait to play saxophone. I
mm,
thought that was going to be my thing, and like I couldn't wait. I think band starts in third grade or fifth grade,
hmm
so I just was chomping at the bit to get a saxophone and play. And then at some point, I like in early high school, like was playing like jazz saxophone and realized that um, that's like when people started getting really good, and then there was
yeah,
I was like, oh man, maybe I'm not like very
right.
good. And I mean, honestly, you as sleeping disorder was the big
Oh yeah,
inspiration when it's like, it just seemed like the coolest possible thing you could do is like take a project into your own hands.
yeah.
And like I just remember you upstairs in your room working on your with QY10 or
Yeah, the Yamaha QY10. That was my first. I might put that out. I made one horrific demo under
def
the name Sleeping Disorder because I kept falling asleep.
a legendary project. So
Yes.
influential. But that's when I realized like, oh, you don't need to be a musical like
hmm
savant to like get your point across musically.
hmm
And it's all about the creativity and the drive and energy and all that stuff. So like those two things together, like me being like, oh, maybe I'm not
hmm
gonna make it as a sax player, and then just that sort of like being influenced by you, like
Mm.
DIY, take it into
Thanks,
your
man.
own.
Yeah, I mean that's always been. Well, thank you, and it's a little bit the mission of this show or whatever this is that like you can just do it. Like in
Yeah,
2021, you can just do it.
yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. And I met Henry and Ryan in high school, and they both, they played guitar and drums, and I was like, well, I could play. I sort of know piano, like I didn't care what I played at all. I just wanted to like be in a band and like,
Mm.
just figure it out from there. So,
Andrew Smith says Jeff is an inspiration to millions of young adults all over the world. Uh,
that's my guy right there, Andrew
and
Smith, Jungle Green. Check him out.
uh, Anthony says Brian had the same exact influence on me and my work. Oh, thanks, man.
Oh.
Andrew Smith says I got horrible lyrics tattooed on my face. Uh, the
Damn, is that the Twitch chat that's popping up or Facebook?
that's YouTube for that one. Uh,
Nice.
that's yeah. Once Butte started getting going, and you were just in venue after basement after venue after like cool Milwaukee venue I'd never heard of. It was like, oh, fish to water with this kid. Um, and then it just sort of kept going. And I think you sort of found your niche in whatever you would describe as your scene. I've been in goth industrial world for so long that I don't have the right vocabulary. But would you
Yeah.
describe yourself as like a synth punk, like indie rock? Do I say the word hipster? I don't know what.
Yeah, like I guess I've always just been looking for like that DIY scene. Like when I
Right,
moved to Chicago, I was just like, okay, where are the house shows at?
right.
And there's not one singular scene, of
hmm
course. The That's definitely where the energy that resonated with me.
hmm
Uh, you know, the there used to be these crazy, big warehouse spaces in Chicago that have, are long gone at this point, but just
hmm
big art installations. And that was definitely what I was like itching to get
Mm,
into when I moved to Chicago for sure.
word. Uh, Lauren, our sister, says I still have my Sleepy DT and my Terrier Beauty. Hi, Lauren. Thanks for
Hey,
watching.
Lauren.
Um, so you're finding these. Like, yeah, 'cause I mean, in the few times that I visited you at that old Logan Square place, it was there's instruments all over the place, and you're playing these venues I'd never heard of, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know the 8 good venues in Chicago, and you're like, no, there's all. Just blew my mind. You're like, it's like your X-Men power. Sort of
Well,
in that world, like, what would you describe as like or whatever? I'll say the word scene, which is not completely applicable, but like, are there certain advantages to that world, and anything that you're sort of sick of?
um, well, I think a big realization for me was that sort of like what I just mentioned, there is no singular
Okay.
scene, and like one regret I had is like I would go to all these cool shows, but I wouldn't talk to anyone because
Mm.
I assumed everyone was friends with each other already.
Hmm.
Like, oh, they all know
I did
each
the
other.
same thing. Yeah.
And like, I wish I could go back in time because there's so many people I am good friends with now and
Right.
collaborate with, and who were like, oh yeah, I was at that show. It's like, no, I didn't know anyone else. I just talked to, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's crazy. Yeah,
And
like
everyone
people.
has their own niche and they sort of meet up
Mm,
at, so everyone's image of a scene, I
mm.
think,
Oh,
differs basically. So I
yeah. I'm
don't think
sorry I
one
talked over you a bit
singular.
there, but like, what were you gonna say about your everyone's image of a scene?
It just like differs,
Uh,
there's no one conceptual, like it's a
okay,
very abstracted thing. There's is something I've learned. Like
that's
the
pretty
second you think
awesome.
you know all the bands in a
Uh huh.
scene, that's the limiting factor, I think.
Oh,
You know what I mean? You
yes. I'm sort of I said that excitedly because I'm just sort of having that thought is crystallizing now. But
well,
yeah,
like going to your shows, like I couldn't even picture a realm. You
totally.
any
Well,
sort
like
of mind expanding show.
like one of the coolest things that I got into, which we had to put ice on for now, but in Boston was like these uh, house noise shows, and like uh, average age 56, like these noise
That's
dudes that have just been around for a while, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, but like I'll go and I'm like, oh, I'm back in high school and it's amazing. And like I thought I knew everything about that's this these are the this is the British IDM scene. These
mm-hmm.
kind of guys, and some of them cross over into industrial. And then they turn out to be like mastered by this guy that I met at a noise show party here in Boston. So
For
like,
sure, for sure.
you know, just let go of that pre. Sorry, I'm just really enjoying that thought. Clifton Hamlet says, "Did Orb play Mr. City? If so, with question mark."
Um, Orb never played Mystery City. I've definitely been. I saw some really cool shows at Mystery City.
Where's that? Chicago?
It was like a super old. That was like right when I moved to Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like a DIY space, and that's my friend Chip. What's up, Chip?
Word, word.
Um, I saw this great band, Gay Beast. There,
What a good name.
yeah, they're uh, really cool synth punk. That one show specifically like blew my mind.
Mm. So,
Uh, yeah.
where you're at now, like, what would you say to someone looking to start into this electronic indie, if you will, world?
Just yeah, don't worry about what other people are doing,
Hmm.
or don't try to fit into anything, because as we are just talking about, there's no thing to fit into, so you just do what resonates with you.
Hmm.
um, don't worry about like, yeah, just do what you like
Hmm.
and put yourself out there. Like, don't be afraid to put
Hmm.
yourself out there thinking like, oh, I might not belong in this niche or something like that. Like, the best shows I've been to are the eclectic bills
Hmm.
where people are just you know only related by their energy and their creative drive, if you will.
Very cool. Yeah, that's I met most of the people in a weird way, the shows that I didn't think I would know anybody at, are where I've met some of my most enduring friends.
Yeah,
Um,
if that's the skill, just talking to random people. I wish
mm.
I could do that better.
I mean, it's that has sort of changed definitely in Corona world, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely missing that.
How's the dog?
Maurice,
Hey,
sweet old Maurice. He's good.
good to hear, man.
Uh, he started doing this thing where he like puts himself to bed. He's he's got a dog bed in our bedroom, and it'll be like 7:30, and he'll be like, "Oh, you guys are watching the 1997 TV miniseries The Odyssey? Okay, I'll check you later." And he'll have to, like, put himself to bed like super early, like an old man dog.
Old man dog, it's the best. Uh, Chip has an interesting question. What is one strange thing you dudes have dreamed about during COVID?
That's a good question. I get the thanks for the question, Chip. I get the tie-in, the strangest dreams.
Oh, I didn't put that together, and I'm the host of the show. Sorry. Dude, have you been dreaming about the strangest things at night?
I do dream about COVID for sure.
Interesting.
Like I'll always be like, the reality of COVID sort of seeps into the dream. I'll be at a show or a gathering of some sort, and then I'll be like, ooh, maybe this is risky.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I shouldn't be here.
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
wish I could come up with a strange one for you, Chip.
I don't, because I don't have an example like that, but I rarely remember my dreams. But like lately, I've had the I'm in trouble for something, uh, dream, and waking up, and there's that second of like, okay, now I got to figure out how I'm gonna deal with this. Oh wait, that all existed in my head. I'm fine. I'm fine. Phew. Um,
Yeah, funny thing about that little ditty, strangest thing is, I like woke up with that in my head. That
Really?
little tune. I remember it was like a couple years ago, and I just like recorded an iPhone message of that.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Do, 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 do. After some crazy dream that I had, and then like this year I went back to that and was like, oh yeah, I should make that an actual song.
That's awesome. Well, you've got the actual musical chops to actually make it happen. But you know what you're doing. You're not like self-taught. I mean, you are self-taught as far as DAWs and stuff go, but you know your scale where on the scale. So that's always been very impressive to me. Um, let's design the conceptual Jaff Graffner video game. Like,
Okay.
is this like a Tetris thing where you would sort of put broken synthesizers together, or like platformer where like your power ups are like a mustache?
Okay, so I always thought this was a good video game to life metaphor. Was Time Pilot?
No, I don't know Time Pilot.
It's like it's an arcade game. It's sort of like Asteroids, where you're like, it's a non-linear game, and you're sort of you're just this pilot.
Okay.
You can so you're basically just aimlessly flying around and shooting other pilots, and then all of a sudden you get warped through like 10, 15 years, and you're 10, 15 years in the future. I feel like that's sort of what my life is like.
Wow.
Where you're just like doing like the thing in front of you, sort of aim, like as it comes, with no discernible trajectory, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, it's 1975 now, and instead of Zeppelins, we're shooting down helicopters or whatever.
Have you felt that way? Like I'm playing in Butte, and I'm going to college in Chicago, and now smash cut to like I have an epidemiology degree, and
it's like
your life's really
pretty much feels like that. It's like the more you do like the project at hand, I'm always like, looking for the next project sort of thing. And then it's like, oh boy, 2021.
Yeah. The same year C Lab took place.
Yeah, no shit.
Let's stay in wacky theoretical realm.
Okay.
Like 3 to like 5 of your main musical influences start a pizza place. Who does what? Like, does Kraftwerk take care of the accounting?
Okay, you prompted me with this. I had some time to think about it.
Cool.
Let me lay this down. Let's see if I can get this right. So I'm thinking like design-wise of the restaurant, the aesthetic. We're going like Gary Newman, Yellow Magic Orchestra, like uh, alienating pizza place vibes. Where
I
it's
love
like
it. I love it.
where it's like there's like glowing pylons,
Okay,
and
okay, totally. Just really
just
for
sort of uncomfortable. And then the kitchen is going to be all like prog rockers,
okay.
like putting that indulgent, mashing things together that don't belong, sort of
Right.
like,
Yes.
like late night pizza slice, like, oh, we're gonna have a little mac and cheese on that.
Right. Just the guys from Rush, like cigarette dangling, like mac and
Yeah,
cheese and like
exactly. Yeah,
avocado.
Getty's definitely in the building. Yes, and King Crimson. I picture them in the kitchen.
Okay.
So you got R. Stevie Moore. R. Stevie at all? He's like the father of
No.
home recording. Big influence. But I picture him as like a disgruntled like floor manager
I love it. I
who's
love it.
like who's sort of like he's like working from home, and
Okay.
he's there's rumors that he set up cameras to like, but he's like not watching the camera.
All right.
He's just
Yeah.
like working from home, like phoning it in.
Totally. Totally. He just.
And then what did I? Oh yeah, how about this? Like lightning bolt. They melt the cheese.
Oh, very good. Lightning bolt. Good call.
And then lastly, I was gonna say like Milwaukee's own Juice Box is outside like flipping a sign.
Oh, that's such a good call.
Handing out flyers, like the real like motivator of the people getting the door.
Yeah, Juice Box is sort of Milwaukee now, Chicago for a while, I think.
New York,
New York,
and LA, never Chicago.
Okay, there was one of the fancy like cool stores in like the Ukrainian village area had like a cutout of him like behind the register, which is why I'm thinking of that. But down by like Bolat, that the African restaurant, there was like a space next to that that had like a cool clothing store that I can't think of the name of. But anyway, yeah, the legendary ex Milwaukee rapper who was influential on both of us. The first show the Gospels ever played was opening for Juice Box at Union South in Madison, Wisconsin.
I mean, yeah, he's just the embodiment of that, what we were talking about earlier, just like having the drive as the leading creative sort of energy into a project. Like, that's the first thing. It's like having the will to do it.
Just the will. Mordeath out of Boston says, down in the park pizza, maybe. We'll praying to the pepperoni. Andrew Smith says, I don't want to mess with the momentum of the show, but would be interested to hear what your favorite movies are. Do you have some favorite movies, sir?
Yeah, I have some like go-to. I watch I guess my go-to favorite movies are like Zardoz.
Nice.
And True Stories, the Talking Heads movie.
Oh God.
Stuff like that, but
cool.
If I gave it some more thought, Andrew, I'll hit you up offline. We can chat.
I'm going to say it oscillates a little bit, but the Mount Rushmore is usually Willow, number one. And then I'm going to go Princess Bride. And then I'm going to go, it's a tie for third, either Bloodsport or The Thing. So
I think I could have done that, newlywed style, guessed your top. I think I would have gotten pretty close.
Yeah, you would have gotten really close. There's been some new contenders lately, but yeah, those are the go-tos. They played The Thing in 35 millimeter here on the big screen at like the cool indie movie theater. It was unreal. So like with your hands in so many pies, what is next for the mighty Jaff Graffner?
So no one knows what's going to happen with the music scene, like how any of that's going to work. we're slowly working on some new hex stuff, which I'm really excited. But we just like haven't had the opportunity to get in the same room as each other.
Yeah.
Only like once since this all happened.
So you guys are truly a band, which is it sounds like a dumb question, but like so much of my world is like band meaning one guy, but like you're truly a collaborative effort.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, and Andy, there's definitely like a lead, guy, and he's just been really vibing. We've been like really
Nice.
vibing on just sending each other goofy shit back and forth
I dig it. I dig it.
during the quarantine. Like a lot of, he's like very into the synth world, so
Oh,
I
awesome.
cannot complain. Um, so we're all cooking up
Are you
something.
playing any synthesizer like hardware world? Are you doing any? Have you discovered any machines you're digging right now?
Yeah. So at the beginning of the quarantine, pretty much, I had Henry pick up this DSS-1. It's a Korg, I think 87 or something.
Totally.
And I had him pick it up for me from somewhere in Wisconsin. Thank you, Henry.
Shout out to Henry.
It's like it's a massive, just absolutely massive sampling synthesizer. It's like one of the first, sampling synthesizers, and I just like love that thing so much. It's so goofy, and it's
got a cool
takes the
vibe,
floppy
or what?
disks.
Oh, it takes floppy disks.
Yeah, and so I had to like get a desktop computer from someone on Craigslist so I could like, you don't say burn floppy disks. I can't even think.
Save to a floppy disk.
Yeah, like make your own. It's just so awesome. It's got these like just perfect sounding samples, and it's a really powerful synthesizer under the sampling. So.
Is that what we hear mostly on Hot Salad?
It's a mix. It's a mix. I mean, Hot Salad like spans basically 8 or 9 years. So it's all sorts of.
Wow, long time in the making. So.
Yeah. Well, the last song on Hot Salad is the oldest. It's from 2011.
Wow.
And it's a collaboration of this band that we never got off the ground between me and this guy, Eli Oshayak, who you should check out actually. Okay. He goes by Oshayak now. Like literally after we recorded this song, he sold all his synthesizers and moved to China.
Wow.
In like 2011, 2012. And he's been in Shanghai since and has made such a name for himself in Shanghai. It's
in
so
music?
Awesome. Yeah, he's like he plays like dark experimental club music.
Awesome. Hey, sign me up.
Yeah, no, it's so you'd really like it.
Okay.
It's really awesome. He's part of this group, Subcult. I think you
dude. Where do I sign?
Yeah, so I was thankful for him to like let me release this like goofy ass thing that we did. Not that he's like, serious.
Very cool. Oh wow. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, is it now that you're big? Not now that you're big, but in I wanted to ask. I don't know if this is in your purview in any way, but you did a lot of wonderful visual art. The old comic Helios, and as far as I know, still the tip jar sign at Atomics Coffee in Chicago.
R.I.P. Atomics, but shouts out.
Oh, it's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you still doing visual art in any capacity?
Not as much as I want to, for sure. Okay. The Helios project that you mentioned was cool because it was like a comic a day type of thing, and that was to like get me to draw, to get me to motivate me to draw by challenging myself to do a comic every day. So I don't have anything like that right now, unfortunately. Okay. I tried like doing some Blender tutorials,
nice.
thinking like that could be a new outlet, the 3D animation, but I did not finish the donut, which is like sort of the first tutorial you do. I had tutorial burnout at that point in between Ableton and all that.
Chiff says Jeff's bed of nails paintings are great. You can always get a USB floppy drive for like $20 on Amazon. Says
it actually for whatever reason that didn't work. That's the
Okay.
first thing I tried. It needed to be an internal
Yeah,
drive.
I've gone down that road before of something about those old synthesizers. There's like a dark magic aura about them, and you need to just treat them with such care.
I
Uh,
actually had to replace the floppy disk drive too
no
after,
kidding.
yeah, which I was happy I did without breaking the thing. But
Yeah, Matt Finale for his first show bought like God Module's old sampler that used like zip drives and had like like professional tech people like look at it and like I don't know what's going on. It's daunting. Um,
yeah, I mean that's like you could definitely find some boutique guys who are like that's their thing. Since
right.
hardware, vintage hardware is such a thing these days. But
Do you think you might ever go into the online show streaming world?
oh, you know, this is my big debut
Oh,
of
okay. Well,
streaming.
we are it's costing billions of dollars to beam the signal from Chicago to here in outer space.
Sure.
So, you take a little bit of time, but, it's great out here, at least in space. I hear you have some problems there on terra firma, but nothing that can't be resolved by a little Jaff Graffner music streaming out into the world. I would recommend
Yeah,
it.
we'll see. I'll definitely hit you up for some technical
Cool, man.
know. I've seen some really good streaming shows, and I've seen some that you know are just have too many technical. Like it's not for everyone. Like Hex haven't done one sort of on purpose because it. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the gamut of like, 3-point lighting full star productions and then like a guy like looking at his phone for half an hour.
Yeah.
uh the let's be semi-professional. We're going to circle back to the top. You want to check out Hot Salad, available now on Money Tapes. Money because that the proceeds thereof, I should say, go to Chicago Rescue. Ugh,
Chicago Recovery
Chicago
Alliance.
Recovery Alliance. Sorry, I knew I messed up the noun. Um, check that out. It's really great. It's all one track. That was an interesting approach.
Yeah, so that's like part of the ethos of the money tapes.
Okay.
They're all just one side of a tape. So like 20, 23, 25 minutes, a
Okay.
short run tape. And yeah, all just one track, just as like a sort of to motivate you to get the cassette tape, but
Oh,
you
okay.
can buy it digitally.
So you're literally buying tapes, or they're available
Yeah,
at least. Okay.
you can pay what you want. And the tapes are like also with the ethos of the money tapes is like very much like a homegrown thing. It's like they're
Okay.
gonna get all the orders in and then they're gonna dub the tapes. So like um, it'll be a while. Sorry for those who are waiting.
Okay.
But,
Right. Well,
so you can listen to it for free digitally on Bandcamp or
what
pay what
possibly
you
could
want.
be going on in the world that would cause any sort of delay? I'm kidding.
Right.
Um, hey Jeff, I am. We're on a rogue flight path out here in space, so I'm going to bring this flying couch back on into the station.
I like that.
Any final thoughts for us out here in space or there on Earth?
I just gotta say, shout out to Brian Grosvenor. Much love, my brother.
Oh, back at you, brother.
You're doing the whole damn thing.
Hey, back at you,
Well,
man. Well, I look forward to you being the best man at my wedding,
hey,
when that happens, for real. And
hell yeah.
let's do this. Shout out to our mom, who I know is watching, and
Hey,
shout out to Lauren, who our sister, who commented in the chat room, and any phantom siblings we may have. I don't know about that, but
Phil's probably not tuning in.
what's that?
I said Phil's probably not tuning
Okay,
in.
well, see what the reception is like out in the woods. But
Right, right.
all right, this is Brian for Space Couch for Jaff, saying call the spaceship to Davenport, prepare for divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. Couch out.
Right. That was so much fun, Brian. Thank you so much.
Because I was thinking, like, because I was doing so much hot salad. You mentioned
Yeah.
I had set up a show to do the same thing, to explicitly ask my friends musical questions, and then realized that I did just that. Uh,
Yeah, that was
so
awesome. You're
that's
so good at interviewing.
well,
I'm impressed.
it's just reps, man. So check, dude. I'm gonna knock a few things out today, but I will be available on the internets.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, thanks for everything.
No problem, man.
All right, see you.